Real talk
Real Solutions with Pam.
and Shay. Let's spill this tea. Hello, welcome back, family. Good to see you again.
Welcome back, family.
Welcome back. So, we were asked to touch on a subject today. We were asked to touch on the subject of loving yourself. So, that's the subject we're going to touch on today. We're going to kind of speak on loving yourself. What do you think about loving yourself? What do you think it takes to get to the point of loving yourself? What are some of your thoughts on that topic?
I think loving yourself is definitely about a feeling that comes over you when you're going through life and things aren't going the way they should be going.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's about you wanting to be the best version of yourself.
Okay.
And I also think it's about letting go.
Okay.
It's about the pain that you've endured.
Mm-hmm.
It's about the things that they don't make you happy.
Okay.
It's like your life isn't where you want it to be.
Okay.
So you do have to take time out for yourself. You have to really want to change.
Okay.
Because you can't stay the same or you'll get the same thing.
Same result. Okay.
So loving yourself is definitely a moment of you wanting to change, to get a change.
Okay.
And it's more about you realizing that you're going through life, but you're not getting all the things that you deserve to get.
Okay.
So it's a positive moment. It's a positive moment for you because you no longer want that negativity in your life.
Okay.
And so you want to grow. So in order to grow, you're going to have to take a deep look at yourself. And then more than anything, you got to figure out where it's coming from. Why are you feeling this way? Is this something that has been in your life for a while? Now, if it's been in your life for a while and you've come to the conclusion that it has, you might want to go see a therapist.
Okay.
And you might want to see a coach. Because that moment is for coaching and therapy.
Okay.
But when you're trying to love yourself, you have to take time out and you have to kind of disconnect yourself from the things you used to do. You're going to have to really, really look deep inside of yourself and try to understand what's really going on. And then you have to understand, how did I get here? What's making me feel this way? And then sometimes you have to go through the process of healing, especially when you went through a bad breakup, a relationship that isn't working. Now, your relationships are not working, period, for you. You've been in a lot of relationships, but you're not been able to stay in those relationships, or you're not been happy with those relationships.
Why do you think that is? Like, why do you think that's that way?
I think because you have to understand and you have to know what you want in a relationship. And it's more about you taking time out for yourself. It's more about you re-examining your life.
Do you think it starts with loving yourself first?
It does. It starts with loving yourself first.
Okay.
But
so since that person isn't quite loving themselves, do you think that's kind of like the root of the problem? Like that's, well, maybe not all of the problem, but you think it maybe starts there?
Yes, I do. I think it starts with you.
Okay.
And it starts with you loving yourself. And when you love yourself, that means you have to be able to accept people for who they are.
I agree with that.
You have to start not wanting people to be what you want them to be. And then sometimes they can't give you what you want because it's not there for them to give.
Okay.
So when you start loving yourself, these are some of the things you have to come to grips with. And it's more about you. It isn't about anybody else. It's definitely about you changing yourself to get better results.
Okay.
And it's going to take you working.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to take you wanting to change. It's going to take you being in a moment of looking at yourself. But it isn't just about relationships. It's about all the parts of your life.
All the way around the board.
Right, because they all have to connect, and they have to make a lot of sense. So, at what point do you think a person should start taking a look at themselves and trying to be better at life?
You asking me at what point?
Yes, at what point do you think?
I believe it probably starts at an early age.
Mm-hmm.
I believe it probably starts, when you're younger.
It does.
And I believe it gets probably more important, of course, the older that you get. But I do believe that it starts at a young age.
I do too. I agree with that. I agree with that because there are things in your life when you were growing and growing up that may be traumatic to you.
Mm-hmm.
It may have caused you to not like yourself, to think you're not good enough, because you are good enough. You do know that, right? And it's taking you to a place of not being able to see yourself in the way you should see yourself. So now you're struggling with the things that you think are not allowing you to be yourself.
Okay.
And so I think that as you grow and grow up, you have to understand that there are going to be things that come into your life that may be there because, you're not actually understanding why they're there.
Okay.
You have to get a good understanding why it's there. And you have to understand, that you have to work on yourself all the time. You have to prepare yourself to win.
Okay.
And I do feel like for myself, when I was struggling in life, when I was going through things in my life, especially with relationships that weren't working out, I just wasn't happy. You find yourself crying.
Yes.
You find yourself asking, why is this here like this?
Why does it keep happening to me? Yeah.
Why does it keep happening to me? So then that's when I realized I've got to take a good look at myself. I got to see what's causing this to be there. Right. Because at one point in my life, I have to say this. I thought I knew exactly what I was doing. I thought I was,
like you had it all figured out.
Yeah, I had it all figured out. I thought I was traveling down life in a good direction.
Okay.
But it wasn't until I met someone that made me know that I wasn't traveling in the right direction. I had to honestly take a good look at myself because it brought me to tears. It made me feel lesser than a person.
Okay.
And then I had to really get to the point where I wasn't always teaching because I felt like, at some point in my life, I felt like now I'm preparing him for the next woman.
Okay.
I'm making him better for the next woman, but at the same time, I'm losing myself.
Okay.
I'm not standing up for the things that I value. I've forgotten the things that I like about myself. I was actually putting him first before me.
I think relationships will definitely give you a wake-up call. And I think relationships will definitely show you when you could have. I know for me, it showed me when I just didn't love myself. Like I couldn't possibly love myself to be letting this person treat me in this way.
Exactly.
So it let me know like I got to step back and evaluate, some things in my life and some things about me. Because it's no way this person should be able to do these things to me. And I just keep allowing it and staying there and accepting it. So at some point I had to realize like, I don't love myself, you know.
Okay. So did you take time out for yourself?
I did take time out for myself. But I also think I was younger, so I really didn't know how to start that. You know, this is why this is a good topic for me as well, because I mean, this is a good question. I'm sure a lot of people deal with learning how to love themselves, you know, and where to, you know, how to even just start and what makes them not love themselves. You know, how can we look at other people and see all this in them and not see it in return in ourselves?
Right.
So, I did begin to work on loving myself, but I think I worked harder at it the older I got.
Exactly.
I think the older I got, the more I began to work on it. I think at that age, at that younger age, I knew I needed that. I needed to take time, but I mean, I'm young, you know, so I'm just walking through life with a blindfold on, just trying to figure it all out. So I believe the older I got, that's when I began to figure out how to take time to learn to love myself. But why do you think a person needs to step back from a lot of things they're doing in their life to begin to love themselves? Why do you feel that way? What makes you say that?
I feel that way because there are distractions in life.
Okay.
And those things can distract you from doing what you have to do. So when you're in a moment of trying to figure it all out and you're trying to understand what's going on with your life and why things are the way they are, you have to take time out to really get to know yourself and to understand what it is you're looking for, what it is you want. And then you have to apply yourself as well. You have to do the work. You have to be concerned about yourself in the way of protecting your peace, your safety.
So let me ask you a question. For those that are struggling with loving themselves, but they're already in a marriage, you know, or they're already in a relationship, how would you recommend, or what do you think they should do? Because now they're already in the relationship, so they can't step away from that. They can't step away from their marriage. You know, they got to still learn how to love themselves while in a marriage.
Okay.
You know, so they can't step completely away from everything. They still have to maintain being a wife, being a mother, while learning to love themselves.
I think you just have to figure out how you can have time for yourself.
Okay.
You have to maybe, while your husband's at work.
Okay.
Or you may have a lunch break or something. And you may want to begin to read books.
Okay.
Things that will educate you.
Okay.
Because I'm really feeling like you just have to take, if it's 15 minutes, if it's an hour, or if it's right before you go to bed, or if it's while you're in the tub. It's really about meditating on yourself. It's about you taking time out, but being in space, in a space where you're by yourself.
Okay. So you just basically saying like taking time alone to
Right.
evaluate yourself and kind of think on the things that you need to do to get to where you need to be, to love who you are in the skin that you're in.
Right.
You know, regardless of what it looks like.
Exactly.
You know. Okay.
Right. And you have to be comfortable in your skin. And then you may want to go to the library. You may want to work out, because working out gives you a sense of direction as well.
Okay.
So when you're working out, you're working on yourself. There's things about yourself. It just doesn't mean you have to, always be alone. You can work out. You can go to church. You can go to Bible study, because these things are adding to who you are.
Okay.
And you definitely have to be in alignment with God. You have to you have to really, really look deep inside of yourself. And you have to make it more about yourself than anything else. And again, I say if it's something that started a long time ago, if it's become a lifestyle for you, if it's something that has always been there, if it's making you feel like I'm so uncomfortable with myself. I don't really truly like myself. I'm not sure I'm good enough. So you have to start thinking positive. You have to let go of the negative thoughts, and you have to start thinking positive.
I agree.
Because when you start thinking positive, it erases the negativity, and it makes you feel better about yourself. Now you're coming into a space of loving yourself and liking yourself at the same time.
Okay.
And that's what you want. You want to know that you are enough, because you are enough. And then at the same time, you don't want somebody's illusion about you to become your reality,
or the illusion of yourself to become your reality.
Right. You want to be able to make better choices. You want to be able to live a better life.
Okay.
You want to be able to do things that will make you happy. You want to do things that are creative. You might want to find a great activity that will add to you. Because sometimes when you have too much space, when you have too much time on your hand and you're not doing anything with it, those things will arrive.
Will fill that space.
Yeah, it'll fill that space. So what are some of the things that you've learned about loving yourself? How has it changed your life?
I feel like loving myself definitely made me happier. It definitely made me happier.
Okay.
It helped me to be able to accept the things I couldn't change about myself. I mean, because some things we just really have to accept that is us, and we have to learn how to be okay with that being a part of who we are. And we can't let what outside people say change that for us, because you're going to always have people that's going to be having negative things to say, or why you do this, why you do that, or, there's always going to be somebody in your ear. But when you begin to love yourself, you don't let those things control you. You don't let those things change the way you feel about yourself. So I feel like loving myself helped me to be okay with even sometimes not being okay. Loving myself helped me be able to look in the mirror and really see myself for who I was. That's and good. Being okay with that.
That's good.
It helped me to understand that it's going to be people out there that look better than me, that's skinnier than me, that dress better than me, that maybe a better mother than me, just they may be able to do some of the things I'm not completely happy with better than me. But I began to think that it could be worse.
Right.
And I'm doing the best I can do for where I'm at in my life.
Right.
And I learned how to be okay with that.
Right.
And I learned how to see it through my eyes and stop trying to see it through someone else's eyes, and see it through my eyes and find a way for me to be okay with it. So I feel like loving myself made me happier, made me be able to do better relationships, not just from an intimate relationship, but also from relationships with my friends, my family.
Right.
I feel like loving yourself helps you to see people for who they are as well.
It does.
It really does.
It
Loving
really
yourself
does.
helps you be able to see people for who they are and to begin to accept people for who they are, because you now accept yourself for who you are.
Exactly.
So it's easier to accept other people for who they are, because you have learned to accept yourself for who you are.
Right.
I feel like a lot of times when we're not happy with ourselves, we don't know how to just let people be who they're going to be, because people make the world go round, and you have to have all different types of people to make the world go round.
You do.
You're never gonna have the same type of person in every environment you go in, every place that you're in, every relationship that you enter. People are always you're gonna encounter different people. So I feel like when you begin to realize and accept and love you for who you are, then you can love and accept other people for who they are.
Exactly.
You know, and then you accepting them for who they are helps them accept them for who they are.
Right.
You know, but a lot of times when you're, you know, coming for people, you know, girl, you know, you probably should wear your hair shorter, you know, girl, wear more, you know, stop wearing black, you know, stop, you know, doing this, or, you know, you constantly coming for that person.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know what that person is dealing with. So now you're making it harder for that person to love them.
Mm-hmm.
So we got to learn to accept people for who they are.
Right.
And then we can begin to accept us for who we are. And I feel like when we do that, then it is easier for us to accept people for who they are. I do. So I feel like that became easier for me to just learn to accept men and women for who they are, and learn that that's who they are. And I just think that my life became happier. I began to feel more complete. I began to just feel like I could be okay with myself. And
that's good. That's really positive. That's a good statement.
Yes.
You know, because I feel like sometimes, you know, when you're in a moment of loving yourself, it can be hard.
Definitely can.
Because you don't actually know where to start at. You don't know what's bothering you. You don't know what triggers it.
Triggers.
You don't know
Definitely will have triggers.
How to get better. So that's why you take out time for yourself. You take space.
Get to the root of the problem.
Right. And you try to meditate as deeply as you can. Because if you don't know where it's coming from, you won't be able to get better. And so that's why I say sometimes you have to go see a therapist. You may have to go see a coach so that you can get better. And then, you know, reading books and things like that, they help as well. Because sometimes it's not as bad as you think it is. It's not as deep as you making it be. You know, you making it more of a problem for yourself than it really is.
Gotcha.
So when you start looking at it and you start becoming more positive and you start making better choices, your life goes a lot smoother. And then you begin to move differently.
Okay.
And then you don't take things so personal. And then you don't go home and when you're at home and you don't have anything to do, you're sitting around thinking about all the negativity, all the stuff that's bad in your life. Because there's going to be bad times in your life.
Definitely will be.
Okay, so what? You definitely
gonna run into bad times.
And so you're going to have to look at yourself. You're going to have to love yourself, and you're going to have to believe in yourself.
I definitely think believing in yourself is very important.
And it can't always be about a man.
Or a friendship.
Right.
A man, a friendship, you know, because everything isn't always about a relationship. Some stuff, you know, it can't always be about a friendship. It can't always be about a relationship. Like you said, you know, I agree.
Right. So when you're in the moment of loving yourself, you have to learn how to let go too. You have to learn how not to blame. You have to learn how to forgive. You can't make these things become a lifestyle for you. You have to reach for more. You have to want more. But more than anything, let me tell you why I say it's a feeling.
Okay.
It's a feeling because when you start feeling like your life isn't where it needs to be, things could be better for you. You start questioning yourself. You have anxiety. You know, you're in a moment of crying all the time. You're not a positive person. You know, you're actually putting yourself down. You know, you could be your worst critic.
Yep.
You know, you could be that person that, you know, somebody could be telling you look really nice. You know, I like your hair. You know, girl, where you get that perfume from? But then when you get home, it's more about, I don't like my hair.
Yeah.
but that person didn't say it for you to take it like that. Take it
Mhm.
as a compliment
Mhm.
and be okay with it,
Mhm.
because you have to love yourself and you have to be okay with yourself. And you have to understand, when people are talking to you and
Mhm.
they're complimenting you, you should just say thank you.
Mhm.
And then you have to do things to keep yourself motivated.
Mhm.
You have to do things that's going to better yourself. Like, you might want to look for another job if that job isn't going better for you. You don't want to go around just talking about the job and just saying all kind of negative stuff. You just want to begin to look for a job,
Yeah.
another job,
Okay.
something that's more suitable for you. You might want to try to start a hobby.
Or try different hairstyles so you
Right.
find the hairstyle that you like.
Exactly.
You may not care for that hairstyle on you, but instead of just putting yourself down, try a different hairstyle. Try a different style of clothing. Just start trying different things till you get to what you like, to what makes you happy. You know, that's why there's hairstylists out there. That's why there's clothing stores out there. You know, that's why there's different revenues out there that you can try and do, and things that you can try and do. You don't want to focus so much on putting yourself down and focus more on just working on the things that you don't like about yourself.
All right. You don't want to be self-destructive. You want to be constructive. You want to be about actually working on changing the things in your life that are not supposed to be there, because there's things you have control over in your life and there's things you don't have control over, and you can't worry about the things you don't have control over because you don't have control over those things. But what you can do is try to figure out how to make it better for you, how to get through it. So you don't want to make it be about a problem for yourself. And the things that you have control over, you've got to become more confident.
Okay.
You got to be able to say no and be confident in it. You got to be able to say, I enjoy exercising. And when you get older, it may not even be about losing weight. It may just be about maintaining.
I think it's also about knowing yourself.
Exactly.
Truly getting to know yourself and who you are. Because that's like, for me, for example, I don't like hair on myself. I don't like how I look with hair. So when I do grow my hair out some, even though people are like, oh, I like your hair, your hair is hitting. Oh, your hair is fire. For me, I don't like it. So it doesn't matter what they like. It's about what I like.
Exactly.
So even though you like me with hair, I don't. So I'm still going to cut it off if I want to cut it off. It's not about me worried about what they're going to think or what they like on me. I'm married and my husband's always like, I want to see you with hair. I want to see you with hair. And I'm like, you ain't. Right. So you're just going to have to deal with that.
Right.
Because I don't like myself with hair. And I have to be happy with me. I can't be happy. I can't, grow hair to make people around me happy. I have to be happy with me. She likes black. We constantly always telling her to stop wearing black, but she don't care. She gonna continue to wear black, and we accept it. We know she likes black, and that it just is what it is, and that's what she likes, and that's all that matters. We can say all day long, try wearing this color, but she wants to wear black, and so she stays in her black, and that's okay because she knows what she wants or what makes her happy or what she likes on her, and that's all that's important, and that's where you have to get to. You have to get to a point where you're not trying to please other people. You're trying to please you. And I'm not sitting here saying, if you're married and your husband likes certain things that you shouldn't care. I'm not saying that. Certain things you may want to do to make your husband happy because that's important to him. Exactly. I'm not saying that. But things that's like, it's just about you and it's going to be okay regardless. Because even though my husband likes hair, if I wear my hair like this, he's not going to leave me. No. It's just his preference.
Right.
And he's like, that's my preference, but you do what you want to do. And that's what you want in your life. You want people that allow you to be you and that are okay with you being you. You got to get to that point. When you got people in your life that's toxic and want you to do what they want you to do, want you to look like what they want you to look like, want you to be who they want you to be, want you to do what they want you to do, that's part of the problem. So you also got to look at that. You got to look at who's in your life and how they are with you in your life, because that could be the problem too. It could be the people that's in your life that are making it hard for you to love yourself. So you got to look at that too. You got to make sure that the people in your life are allowing you to be who you want to be and are allowing you to get to the point where you love you and where they love you enough to let you be you so that you can love yourself.
Right.
You know, that is very important too.
Right. And then, just to piggyback off what you said about your hair. Now, she did let her hair grow out. And I thought it was just really cute on her, but she's like, Mom, I can't do it. I just can't.
And to y'all, it's still like to everybody else, it's still short.
I can't do it.
It's still short to them. Like it ain't long, but it's longer than this. Right. But for me, I'm like, no, this is where I be. This is where my happy place be. Now I do let it grow out to like a little curly, and I wear like a little curly, style with my little edges and stuff. I do like that too, but it's still short. But once it gets to the point of like it's going over my ear, that's long to me. To me, that's long hair for me, as you can see. Right. So for me, when I say long, or when they say long, that's long to me. So when they say that, that's what they mean. When it get to going up in here, that's a little bit too long for me. I can't do it. I can't do it.
Right. And that's okay that she's comfortable with that.
I'm comfortable with that.
And she's comfortable enough that when people tell her that, she's like, okay, I appreciate, that you want.
But where's the clippers?
Where's the clippers?
Where's the clippers?
Right. And when it comes to my black, I'm very comfortable wearing black. But I am trying to change that part about myself. I do want to wear different colors.
Yeah,
I just like
that. But you always fall back to the black. You do try to dip into other colors, but you always fall back to that black, and that's okay.
Right.
It looks good on you, but it's about knowing you. It's about sticking strong to what you want, what makes you happy. If you okay with your weight, then you be okay with your weight. Don't let the people around you make you feel bad because you got a little weight on you, because let's just be honest, some people look better with that weight than without that weight.
They do.
They just do. Some people you be like, ooh, they done lost a little bit too much weight.
Exactly.
But it's about what you like for you. It's about what you want for you. And that's when you begin to love yourself, that's when you be okay with whatever you like. You're not worried about what the people around you want, what the people around you like. You go out somewhere, girl, yeah, that color looks good on you, but I just really like you in green, girl. Okay, that's cool. Like, I hear you. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. And then you just keep it moving and you continue to wear what you want to wear.
But that's you being confident
in yourself.
That's you loving yourself. That's you being okay with the conversation being what it is. But at the same time, I know what I like. I know what I'm going to do. I know what I'm going to wear. And I'm okay with everything you just said. It's just not what I want to do. So you do have to become confident. And it may take, if it's been a lifestyle for you, it may take a while for you to get there.
Yeah, I agree.
You may have to really.
Overnight.
No, it's not overnight. You may have to really work on some things in your life that's going to make you okay with your decisions. But at the same time, just like, Jashay said, you can't worry about what people are saying. You have to live your life according to what you feel. And then there's going to be times in your life where you're going to have to, you're going to have to be different. You can't be worried about being different, because when you start loving yourself, there's some things you're going to have to change about yourself. You may lose a few friends, and then you may pick them back up because you're different. You don't do those things anymore because you're trying to become a better version of yourself. And you're working on yourself.
Yep.
So and then you also have to know that there's more to life than just, worried about what people are saying about you. You have so many other things you can worry about that could make you more happier than what you are.
Yes.
Because I know that, my husband, I'll say, well, you like my dress I have on? He'll say, it's black. Yeah, I like it. He's just like, I like that, but he's also asking me to change. He's asking me to do some different colors. So that's part of why I want to do that. But at the same time, it took me a minute to get to the point of wanting to love myself. And like Jashay said, it wasn't until I was older, because I was doing more. in my life. I had different things that were going on with me. I was out more. I was meeting different people. But for me, it was about a feeling. It was about me feeling not insecure, but not happy. I wasn't happy with my life. I wasn't happy with the things that was going on because I believe in values. I believe in morals. I believe in doing the right things for myself. And I had lost that. I had lost my way. And it wasn't until I decided to take a good look at myself. And I did go to some, I went to like a coach, and I began to look at myself. I began to understand why these things were going on. And so I had to work on those things.
Okay.
And it wasn't until I went to a coach that I realized that these things had become a lifestyle for me. I had done it so long that I was comfortable with it. But at the same time, I'm thinking, I'm good with it. But you have to really know yourself, and you really have to really get into, different things in your life. Like you have to want to, like I was just saying, be creative, because like I do draw, and so now I'm getting into drawing because I have more time on my hands, so I can actually do more stuff. And so when I do more stuff, it makes me feel better about myself.
Yes.
And so you have to find things to replace the negative with. You replace the negative with positive things, things that are going to make you happy,
and that are beneficial to your happiness.
Exactly. Very beneficial to your happiness.
Yep. So I just think that it's not going to be a fast process. It's going to take time. And that's okay. That's okay for it to take time, but you will get there.
You will get there.
And you will begin to love yourself. And sometimes you will fall back and then have to start over, and that's okay. But you will get there in the end. And once you do get there, you will find that you are much happier. You're in a better space. The people around you are happier with being around you. You will just notice a big difference in your life. You really will, once you find the space of being happy.
Right. And a lot of times when you have children, your children are looking at you. You are teaching your children what happiness is. You're teaching your children how to love themselves. You're teaching your children how to get through the hard times in life, how to be strong, how to be okay with not being okay.
Yeah, because believe me, when you're not happy, the people around you, they see it.
Right.
They see it. It sticks out like a sore thumb, even though you may not think it does. People can definitely tell when you're not happy with yourself, when you don't love yourself. It shows up even when you think it's not. It does show up. So you just have to find what works for you and what's going to help you learn to love yourself. And we just hope that this video has answered your questions and has helped you. And we want to thank you for reaching out and asking us to do this topic, and anyone else who wants a topic to be discussed on Crushin Problems podcast, please feel free to reach out in the comments on under this video or wherever. And we're always welcome to that, and we will take a look at it and go from there. So please feel free to do that, guys. We welcome that at any time. So we hope this video was helpful. We appreciate you guys watching. And once again, we have spilled this tea. And remember, if you don't
stand for something,
you will fall for anything. See you next time.